Children's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's.
Disney's Wide World of Sports is home to the Old Spice Classic, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Today, SEC preseason player of the year Tyler Smith matches up against the Hoyas freshman sensation Greg Monroe, number 12 Tennessee and number 16 Georgetown. Now. Of all the holiday tournaments, we might have the best field here at the Old Spice Classic, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's at the Milk House at Disney's Wide World of Sports Complex in Florida. The second ever meeting in our first semifinal of the day between Georgetown and Tennessee. The Vols advanced with an easy win, surprisingly so, over Siena yesterday. Georgetown had to struggle with Wichita State, but they moved on. Maryland and Gonzaga at 5:30 this afternoon. That's the other semifinal, and we welcome you to Walt Disney World. Hi again, everyone. I'm Bob Wischusen here with Len Elmore. Andy Capps will join us in a bit. And Len, when you do these preseason tournaments, this is what you're hoping for, to get a matchup that is so rare sometimes in the regular season out of conference. It's just two great teams.
Well, two ranked and two undefeated teams, and the battle is going to be inside, rebounding and defense. Georgetown has been out-rebounded by opponents. They're going to have to rely on freshman sensation Greg Monroe in their inside game against a team, Tennessee, that's plus 11 in rebounding. They got Wayne Chisholm and Brian Williams and company really getting it done on the inside.
In our Star Watch, we have two terrific small forwards that played like it in the quarterfinal round yesterday, Tyler Smith and DeJuan Summers.
Well, Tyler Smith in a bit of foul trouble in the first half against Wichita State. His teammates kind of bailed him out. And DeJuan Summers starting to shoot the ball really well for Georgia.
Nearly had a double-double against Siena.
Well, Wayne Chisholm very strong inside, as Tennessee loves to be able to go inside to him. And he'll be battling again against the freshman Greg Monroe for Georgetown. Monroe's no coincidence. Obviously, John Thompson III, following what his father had laid out as far as getting a great big man, knowing that that's the key to any kind of postseason success.
These two teams have only met one time before, as you just saw, in 2003 in the NIT. Georgetown won, but these are two programs that are in vastly different places now than they were under their predecessors. John Thompson III, in 4 years, has taken Georgetown to Big East regular season titles in back-to-back seasons. And Bruce Pearl was the SEC Coach of the Year last year, and he has resurrected Tennessee. Down the lane, Monroe gets us started.
Yeah, he gets us started all right with a rollicking bang. Inside play, as we said, Georgetown needs to be able to have some strength in there. Tennessee, with their pressure defense, forced 18 turnovers against Siena yesterday. But Georgetown handles the ball very well. They average only 11 turnovers per game.
Scotty Hobson, another McDonald's All-American, comes up short on that jumper. Summers hits a triple, and it's 5 straight to start the game for Georgetown.
Well, yesterday, DeJuan Summers really came up big for Georgetown down the stretch in their game against Wichita State. Hit some huge threes.
Tyler Smith slices through the defense, can't get it to go, and Summers the rebound.
Again, Georgetown has been out-rebounded by opponents this year, kind of a -3, so they have to really make a conscious effort, get to the board, not allowing second chance opportunities for Tennessee.
Monroe sets up Freeman. That's a brick, and Smith has the rebound, or rather Chisholm. Mays a fadeaway, tough shot, and he connects.
Kind of a line drive by Bobby Mays, but Bruce Pearl will tell you that Bobby Mays has been a godsend for them. Playing the point, minimize the turnovers, really getting folks involved and being an offensive threat himself.
A junior college transfer that began his career at Oklahoma. And our first chance to check in with Andy.
Well, I'll tell you, Bruce Pearl telling me that having 1 day to prep for Georgetown, obviously very difficult. So there's one program that he wanted to emulate in playing Georgetown today, and that was Pittsburgh. He says Pittsburgh in the Big East is the team that goes right at Georgetown, tries to take it right to him. That's the way he said Tennessee has to play against Georgetown. As for the Hoyas, quite simple. They said they got to take care of the basketball against Tennessee's pressure.
Well, Pittsburgh has that capability with big DeJuan Blair in the middle, who makes a lot of room and presents some problems for Georgetown. But once again, Tennessee's been able to score pretty easily that time.
And no one in the middle to stop Scotty Hobson. So it's a 1-point game.
And again, in the paint, Georgetown's got to seal off. Tennessee's looking for the high percentage.
Sapp palmed the basketball. So Georgetown turns it over. John Thompson III in 2007 took the Hoyas back to the Final Four. Prior to Georgetown was at Princeton, mentored under Pete Carrill, won 3 Ivy League championships, and now has taken Georgetown back to where his dad had this program as one of the tops in the Big East.
Well, obviously John Thompson III in his 5th season, a tremendous coach. As you mentioned, he's won everywhere he's been at Princeton. 3 first-place finishes in the 4 years at Princeton in the Ivies. So he knows his job.
Chisholm flips it up with the left hand, and he was fouled, so that will be...
Yesterday they kept Wichita State in the game, has turned the ball over, 17 turnovers in that particular game. Uncharacteristic of a Georgetown team. Nice job right there.
Summers releases and throws it down.
Well, that's what you call using the aggressiveness of the defense against it. Nice little fake by Summers, and then he takes off.
Woolridge for 3. Off the heel, and Freeman the rebound.
Georgetown playing some zone right now, not normally part of their repertoire.
Right from the corner, knocks down a triple. Chisholm goes right at Monroe. Monroe flops, no call. Woolridge follows. And another rebound for Austin Freeman. Numbers for the Hoyas. In transition, right, the alley-oop. Finished by Monroe.
Big Wright got away with an extra step. It doesn't matter, though. And again, you look at Greg Monroe, you talk about him as an inside player, but boy, he runs the floor, does everything you expect from a terrific big man. And there's the rebounding.
An air ball from Hobson.
You know, Tennessee not really applying any pressure, trying to play man-to-man.
A shove as we went to break as the officials huddled and awarded Greg Monroe the basket on this move. You'll see Steve Olson, the baseline official, after the bump by Chisholm, wave off the basket.
Greg Monroe in the middle with that big body.
And Williams gets the rebound off the Monroe miss. Georgetown is 6 of their first 7 from the field. The foul on Chisholm was his first and the team's first.
Again, Georgetown staying in that 2-3 zone. They're going to test the outside shooting, perimeter shooting of Tennessee, but what that does, it leaves open the offensive rebounding.
That was deep for Cameron Tatum. I don't think the 1 foot back on the 3-point line bothered him much there.
Not the shooters. The shooters are going to shoot, no question about it. As I've always said, it's the pretenders now. That 1 foot will make a vast difference in their percentage.
Wright rises and fires. Williams the rebound.
Against the 2-3, that short corner is one place, as well as below the foul line in the middle.
Prince hits a 3.
But if you can get the short corner a touch and they can get it back outside, you catch the zone many times in rotation. Opens up good looks like that for Prince.
Summers off the mark. Prince the rebound. He'll bring it up himself. Prince penetrates. Tough running one-hander. Gets the friendly roll.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Off-balance shot, but you got into the teeth of that zone. And John Thompson III needs to talk about it.
It's been a game of runs. Georgetown opened the game with a 5-0 run. Tennessee responds with a 6-0 run, a 9-0 run for Georgetown, now an 8-0 run for Tennessee, and we're tied at 14. This game of college basketball is available on ESPN HD. It's number 12 and number 16, Tennessee and Georgetown in the Old Spice Classic, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. A little over 6 minutes gone by and a back-and-forth first half. The Vols travel well. It's even a football weekend. The last weekend for Philip Fulmer as the head coach of the football team, but the fans are here.
Well, you take a look right here. That's the short corner. You get the ball there, you catch the zone in rotation, especially if you get it outside. The back outside to the top, one extra pass, wide open look. You got to be able to move the ball and explore that zone. I think that pass is for me.
It's a turnover, and let's check in again with Andy.
Playing off exactly what Len just said, Bruce Pearl told me right before the game that they're not going to win this game by simply making twos. He said they have to make threes in bunches to beat this Georgetown team.
Well, I'll tell you what, again, the ball movement, guys spotting up along the perimeter certainly will help.
Whistle away from the ball.
It's to run the ball, and the Terps looking like anything but turtles against Michigan State. Really pushed the pace.
A break up in midcourt. Freeman can't recover. Step on the sideline. It goes over to Tennessee.
Well, there's the Tennessee pressure in the half court, looking to deny overplay. And not only does it wear you down physically, but certainly wears you down mentally. The more you have to deal with those orange shirts in your face.
Tyler Smith has it knocked away. Good hands by Wright, and now Wright in transition. Swoops in, scores, plus the foul. Higher Big East regular season schedule. Was injured just before the Big East regular season started and came back for the Big East.
Well, you talk about being a replacement for Jonathan Wallace, and Chris Wright probably adds a little more of a dimension, able to kind of beat you off the bounce if necessary. And they're a man-to-man offense. They don't necessarily use guys off the bounce per se. A lot of precision passing, but Wright capable of breaking down defenses as well as shooting three.
Jason Clark. Chisholm gets it in, gets a return, high off the window.
Well, that time in zoning the inbounds play, they forgot about the passer, which many times is the case. And once again, hitting that short corner, that's one of the openings against the 2-3 zone.
Ball deflected on the entry by Chisholm, and a steal for Hobson.
Very active hands at Tennessee. Long defenders.
Just about taken back, and it is. Summers spins baseline, got caught in the air. Bad decision.
Well, good help, though, by Brian Williams. Chisholm helped him the time before.
A tough crossover. Chisholm, the offensive rebound, rolls it back out to Williams. Prince falls down. There's a turnover and a steal by Wright. And here comes Summers. Blocking foul call. At the Old Spice Classic, part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. Boy, you think these November festival games don't matter?
Well, we always kid Bruce Pearl about how much fun he is on the sidelines, but don't cross him with silly mistakes. That can't be any fun for the Tennessee players right there.
After the last timeout was called, that was as Pearl came over to the sideline. And not only did he read the riot act to his players, he turned around and the same venom he was giving to his players, he gave to the coaches after the players went to the bench.
Just make sure he evens it up, you know. Mad at the world at this point in time. Well, and he should be. His team allowing Georgetown to shoot 70% from the field, 7 of 10. Including 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. So
6'10" or larger. They list Monroe at 6'11".
Right now, Georgetown out of the zone into the man-to-man.
Nice hands by Monroe to reach around Chisholm, knock it away. Chisholm wants the timeout, and he got it, comparatively speaking.
Well, again, Mark Few, who's in this field right now with Gonzaga, and certainly Roy Williams, who's coaching the team to beat this year. But Bruce Pearl has done some wondrous things. University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee really built that program to the point where they were dangerous in March. And obviously here at Tennessee with that same style, frenetic defensive pressure, being able to go inside on the offense.
Let's check in with Andy.
What's impressive about that list with Bo Ryan and with Bruce Pearl, both those guys went the hard way, going in Division II, Southern Indiana, and Wisconsin, Platteville. for Bo Ryan?
Well, if you can win, you can win. And both of those coaches you just mentioned, Andy, they know their jobs. They know what they're doing. They get the talent that fits their program, and they're able to get it done.
That last foul called on Greg Monroe, that's his second. And John Thompson leaving him in the game, and Monroe gets a steal.
Bad pass by Wayne Chisholm. Looking for Negadu. Negadu wasn't ready for it. And you got to minimize your mistakes against Georgetown. Despite the fact that you have two starters returning from last year's team, they know how to make you pay.
And Clark makes them pay right there as they go underneath that ball screen, and Clark hits a three.
Actually, they have 3 starters remaining and 7 players overall from last year's team.
Chisholm answers for Tennessee. What a steal by Chisholm. Snatches it out of midair, and the big man leaves it for the point guard, and an offensive foul call.
And that's exactly why you don't want the big fellas leading the break, because it's hard for them to put on the brakes. And that gives an opportunity for John Thompson III to put Greg Monroe on the bench, so he doesn't have to work and pick up possibly his 3rd foul. Doesn't have to work against Brian Williams or guys off the bench, the big man off the bench. That's a strategic and tactical bonus for Tennessee.
It's over a 75-game span, including yesterday against Siena. So they average a little over 4 turnovers forced per game on inbounds plays.
I'm glad you could do the math. That's why I owe man the letters.
Summers backs his man down. The flip over Tyler Smith won't go. Smith lost his footing, and a foul called. First, and the 5th team foul for Georgetown.
And Georgetown back in the zone, changing defenses on Tennessee, and you can see the impact that the zone has had on the Tennessee attack. Makes them work a lot harder for shots.
Smith bounces low, and Hobson throws it down.
Terrific delivery by Tyler Smith. Once again, 2 weak spots in the 2-3 are right below the free throw line, usually in the middle or on near the elbow and down in the short corner.
Summers catches low. Eventually it's Sims, the center, for 3, off the mark. Hobson high for the rebound. Foul called on Austin Freeman. Bump
against the 2-3. You take a look right here at Smith. This is the guy that you read, the guy in the middle. And as Summers comes up, the short corner is wide open because the player on the wing, the defender on the wing, doesn't get there in time. And just a nice delivery, quick read by Tyler Smith.
The foul on Freeman was his first, Georgetown's 6th team foul, so Tennessee will shoot 1-1 on their next bump. Tyler Smith misses. 5 team fouls on Tennessee. We're tied at 21 between number 12 Tennessee and number 16 Georgetown at the Milk House at Orlando's and Disney's Wide World of Sports Complex. I'm Bob Wischusen with Len Elmore and Andy Katz. The Old Spice Classic, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. And it gives us a great semifinal matchup as the SEC matches up against the Big East. Jesse Sapp's shot won't go. The Sims follow won't go. Here comes Tyler Smith.
Nice rebound by Negadu. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the telecast, it's going to be rebounding and defense that'll tell the tale. And we focused on 2 guys that lead their team. Wayne Chisholm for Tennessee, Greg Monroe. But as luck would have it, both of them in foul trouble sitting on the bench.
Tyler Smith, the runner across the lane, the soft touch. His first points.
A lot of backspin on that one. You mentioned a soft touch. Just get it up there on the rim and let the backspin do the rest. There's the pressure right there really bothering Georgetown on the inbound.
DeJuan Summers had to come back and help out Bobby Mays, or rather help out Jesse Sapp. Wright sets up Sims. Hit the underside of the rim.
Sims with a nice drive, but he's got to get his feet under him.
Smith drives. The finger roll comes up short. Sapp lost his footing in the backcourt. Turns it over. A takeaway by Sapp. What a spin move. Hands it off to Summers for the throwdown. What a play by Jesse Sapp.
Fast-paced, almost too fast, as Tennessee in overdrive turns it over. And Jesse Sapp, the senior, the guy who's pretty much unsung, yesterday against Wichita State took 2 big charges, created some turnovers to give Georgetown an opportunity to push ahead. A lot of the stuff Jesse Sapp does doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but certainly is effective for Georgetown.
Shot clock at 4. Mays tries to beat it and does with a 3.
A little token pressure by Tennessee, just enough to slow Georgetown down, and then they back up into their man.
Both teams shooting well from three-point land, and now Mays the anticipation and the lay-in. A 5-point lead for Tennessee.
And we talked about the length, particularly of the guards for Tennessee, and Mays utilized that long reach on a lazy pass by Austin Freeman. He's going to hear about it.
Backdoor the pass off the knees of Austin Freeman. Nagadu with a slam. And Tennessee extends their largest lead, and Georgetown wants a timeout.
Well, right there you saw an example of Orange Lightning, able to turn turnovers into transition buckets.
Both teams making spectacular plays defensively as Jesse Sapp gets the steal and the spin here at midcourt.
They're in Tennessee after the turnover. Lightning quick down the court, getting people running. Their bigs pretty athletic. You get them out with a head of steam going, hard to stop.
Tennessee with a 14-2 run over the last 6+ minutes to take what at one point was a 5-point deficit and turn it into a 7-point lead. Omar Watad has come on for Georgetown, replacing Henry Sims. And Julian Vaughn is in as well. Greg Monroe still on the bench for Georgetown.
Got to be careful with that return pass to the top. Bobby Mays has gotten a hand on one, stolen another.
Wright doesn't get the roll for 3. Brian Williams throws it out to midcourt. Wright with the intercept, goes right at Williams, and a foul call.
Points could be scoring in the 80s, and Georgetown not far behind it.
And some foul trouble for Tennessee, at least mild foul trouble. That foul on Brian Williams was his second. He stays in the game. Wayne Chisholm is on the bench for Tennessee with 2 personal fouls.
That's the reason.
Those are the 2 big players in the front court as Tyler Smith hits a floater in the lane.
And that's the reason why Brian Williams is still on the floor. Bruce Pearl kind of limited in the big men that he can stick back in there in this type of game.
Summers hits a 3.
But DeJuan Summers has gotten his groove back from beyond the arc.
Summers now up to 11 points. And a foul at midcourt as Mays got trapped right in front of our table, and Summers collided with Williams.
The floor, I think he was probably more disappointed. It looked like he kind of banged up his hand, but more disappointed at the foul, knowing that that's 2.
To 267, all the way down to 267. Lets you know how big he was, but he can't convert on the front end of the 1-and-1. Prince knocks it out.
And got to uphold their reputation and pride. Michigan State going down yesterday. Purdue against a tough Oklahoma team led by the guy who's probably the player of the year thus far, and Blake Griffin.
Freeman off the mark. The loose ball collected and put home. Jesse Sapp, good hands underneath.
Good hands and opportunist. Brian Williams should have had that rebound but lost it. And once again, we talked about rebounding and defense. Both of these teams excel at it. And that will tell the tale. Georgetown switching D once again, going from zone to man to zone again.
Williams, the jump hook. And it stays with Tennessee.
In Orlando.
All right, Ryan, here at the Old Spice Classic, part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. It's a big weekend for Tennessee as they're taking on Georgetown and may have an opportunity to play over the weekend for the Old Spice Championship as well. But it's also the last weekend for Philip Fulmer at Tennessee as the head coach on the football side. He's been the head coach since 1992, but has spent 32 years with the program, a national title back in 1998, a pair of SEC titles as well, and he will coach his last game this weekend with the Vols. And we'll have that game for you on ESPN2 at 6:30. Comes up tomorrow.
Take a look at the score. We're talking about rebounding and defense makes a difference.
Chisholm lost it going up on the second attempt.
Well, Tennessee +3 on the boards, and they're up 2 thus far.
Well, Todd hits a 3. And Georgetown has the lead back.
Figured I'd get that in because I knew the score would change.
Nice job. This has been a game of runs. It is one run after another, and Georgetown is now on an 8-0 run.
Well, it's all about being able to adjust and adapt for both teams. And every time the defense has changed, Georgetown went to a zone, took Tennessee a little bit of time to figure it out. Tennessee goes to pressure. It takes Georgetown a little bit of time to figure out. Once they do, they get a run, then the other guy adapts and they adjusts, and then it takes more time. So the changing defenses, I think, have a lot to do with the runs.
Sapp off the mark, knocked out of bounds by Julian Vaughn. It goes over to Tennessee, and let's check in with Andy Katz again.
Well, you guys mentioned Philip Fulmer coaching his last football game for Tennessee against Kentucky this weekend. I talked to Bruce Pearl earlier about this, and he says, look, this is the pressure that you deal with at a school like Tennessee, big-time school. Here's a guy, he said, that won the SEC East last year, played in the title game, played in a bowl game, won the bowl game, and yet a year later, he's out of a job. And Bruce has really immersed himself into the Tennessee athletic department, really getting close with all the coaches, certainly Pat Summitt and Philip Fulmer. So he's very disappointed how this thing has played out, but did sort of just single out how intense it is and the need to win, certainly at a high level at a place like Tennessee.
Well, you look at the skyrocketing salaries, and coaches have to understand this is the life that they chose.
And at Tennessee, if you look at how the Vols football program of late has performed against Florida, Alabama, Georgia, I mean, the teams that they would identify as their big rivals, they have not done well. So things have changed.
Absolutely, and they'll change quickly, too, based on that barometer you just mentioned, Bob. But you get paid, and coaches in football and now in basketball are getting paid. No question about it. And you got to understand, that's the life they chose. With that money comes the pressure.
Chisholm out, Nagadu in for the Vols. Freeman, a pull-up. Got it.
Just a nice job of taking what the defense gives you. Austin Freeman along that baseline just made up the space. And then shot that nice short jump shot. Nice touch. You know, the ball movement around the perimeter of the defense kind of stretches that defense a little bit.
Shot clock down to 10. Mays goes to work. Shot clock at 7. Hobson, a pull-up, a rainbow jumper, finds the bottom.
Well, by moving around the perimeter, creates room for guys to work against that man-to-man.
Vaughn spun and then threw it away. A steal by Tyler Smith.
Nice pass, but
Sapp goes to the deck. Did he get a timeout before he rolled out of bounds? Nope, it goes to Tennessee.
What I was going to say was a nice pass, but you threw it to a big guy.
coming up on 1 minute to go in what has been a great first half and has had the intensity of a regional final in the NCAA tournament between two teams that if they met with a Final Four spot on the line in March would not be a shock at all. Shot clock again down to 10 for Tennessee. Mays backs it out. The shot clock now at 4, and a foul a long way away from the basket. And Mays can't hit the front end of the 1-and-1. About a 10-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
Tennessee's got to recognize they're going to get possession. Strong defensive effort right here. It gives them that last shot.
Shot clock at 10. What a dribble by Sapp. Leaves it off and unable to convert in the lane. Freeman. Prince the other way. Gets it to go. Plus the foul. That is 2 highlight plays at either end, and it started with the dribble move by Sapp.
Well, watch Jesse Sapp once again showing his wizardry. But the difference between those 2 plays is right here. Prince goes to the basket strong, as opposed to the layup on the other end, which was kind of fading away.
Wright called for his second personal foul. And he and J.P. Prince got into it a little bit.
That's not going to be tolerated. Just play basketball. But this is November. This is not February or March. This is November. And the intensity level here can be compared to what it is in early March.
Down to the last 6 seconds of the first half. Wright penetrates. Comes up short. The loose ball put up by Jesse Sapp and a foul call. With a pair at the line for Sapp. Josh Tabb lets it go. And the first half comes to an end. A 2-point game that saw both teams shoot 50% or better from the field. We had 7 lead changes. And that's with Tyler Smith in our Star Watch update. A pretty quiet first half. And let's check in with Andy.
Well, Bruce, how'd you like the tempo?
Well, when it got up, it was to our advantage. And yet at the same time, really they did not score against our drop-back defense. Where they scored was also in transition.
How'd you like the end of the possessions there, the back and forth there at the end, not able to sort of contain them there in that last time by Georgetown?
Well, you know, they got great players, and they made some really good plays. We didn't do a good job communicating defensively. I thought we showed some patience down the stretch. You know, they changed defenses from man to zone, and we got a few fouls. They're driving the ball to the basket in bonus.
All right, good luck in the second half, Bruce.
All right, Andy, thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, Andy, thanks very much. A 2-point game at the half. It's time now for the UPS halftime report. Ryan Burr with Hubert Davis and Jay Williams in our college basketball studios. The next go-round. We're ready for the next go-round in this Old Spice Classic semifinal between Tennessee and Georgetown. Part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. A 2-point lead for number 12 over number 16. Bob Wischusen, Len Elmore, and Andy Katz here at Disney's Wide World of Sports. And it is rare that Georgetown allows 39 points and a half, but that's just what Tennessee scored on them in the first 20 minutes.
Well, the first half for both teams has been a very athletic, above the rim for the most part, type of half. And the changing defenses of Georgetown hasn't really fazed Tennessee, whether it's the zone where you hit the short corner and make the extra pass, or against the man-to-man, where the terrific athleticism of Tennessee and their ability to break down defenses has come into play. But to be able to score 39 points and a half against Georgetown, one of the top-rated defenses in America, is really saying something. But give the Hoyas some credit. You know, they're hanging right with them, despite the fact that their big man in the middle, Greg Monroe, only 8 minutes in the first half. Perfect from the floor, but only 6 points and 1 rebound.
Tyler Smith goes around Monroe to start the second half.
And as for Tennessee, their big man in the middle, Wayne Chisholm, only played 7 minutes, but he's got 9 points and 4 rebounds. We talked about this game being won with defense and rebounding. Well, Tennessee with the rebounding and lack of defense on the other end as Chris Wright just knifes to the basket.
So it's a 2-point game once again. Woolridge hits a 3.
How about that step back by Ronaldo Woolridge? And against Siena, Woolridge was 3 of 6 from beyond the arc, including, and 5 of 9 total field goals. So he's a hot hand for Tennessee.
Some NBA bloodlines on this Tennessee roster. Ronaldo Woolridge, the son of Orlando Woolridge, He spent 13 years in the NBA. And, of course, J.P. Prince is the cousin of Tayshaun Prince. And a takeaway by Bobby Mays. Boy, can he get from one end to the other. And a foul by Jesse Sapp. Let's check in with Andy.
When talking to John Thompson III, head coach of Georgetown, he said, look, I don't mind the pace of that first half, but he did say that we turned the ball over too many times, 11 in that first half. And he said that allowed Tennessee to get on their flurry. As for Georgetown's offense, he says we've got to get back to executing. Pass, cut, for them to win this game. Guys?
Well, absolutely. We didn't see that vaunted Georgetown type of offense where they're playing with each other, looking for back doors, cutting. Tennessee's pressure really takes them out of that offense. And the turnovers, 11 turnovers in the first half, that's their allotment for the season thus far. They only average 11 turnovers per game in their first 3 games. So Tennessee's defense is certainly having an adverse impact on Georgetown.
That foul for Sapp was his first. 90 seconds into the second half.
And again, it's not just the score. Obviously a 2-point halftime lead for Tennessee, but it's the way the pressure kind of wears you down mentally.
Monroe slapped it away from Chisholm, and inside scoring with the left hand, Austin Freeman.
Once again, in the Georgetown man-to-man, Tennessee looking to keep the floor spread. Good spacing. Trying to give their one-on-one players an opportunity to break the defense down.
Nice seal inside by Chisholm. A little too strong off the window, though, and it's out of bounds off of Georgetown. So a fresh 35 for the Vols.
Well, Greg Monroe, we talked about it, only 8 minutes.
Summers, Wright, and Monroe have 2 apiece for Georgetown. Wayne Chisholm, Cameron Tatum, and Brian Williams all with 2 apiece for Tennessee. And out, 2 misses for Ronaldo Woolridge.
Now 6 of 17 from the free throw line. And, you know, those are the kinds of opportunities you can't afford to give up in a game that's probably going to be a close one.
Shot clock at 10 for Georgetown. Cutting to the basket is Monroe. A foul. Their primary forwards in the game, each with 3 fouls.
And that's the biggest reason that Chisholm and Monroe face each other with the 3 fouls. You don't want one of those guys picking it up against a reserve. And I'm sure that as soon as a reserve comes in for either one, the other coach will substitute as well.
Tyler Smith gets the roll, and they went right at DeJuan Summers. And Summers seemed to be backed off a little bit, trying to avoid picking up that 4th personal foul, and gave Smith some room. See if Georgetown goes right at Chisholm. Summers drives and converts.
And Summers going to try to make some hay while he's still got some daylight out here.
Chisholm picks up his 4th. Sometimes. Can't quite tell how he's feeling just to look at him.
Oh, he's crafty, though. He'll work the officials. He knows what he's doing.
Freeman for 3. Off the mark. Brian Williams the rebound. And he shoves his man to the ground. And I believe the foul is going to be called against Georgetown. Was shocked when all of a sudden he realized that Sapp had been called for the foul. So it's Tennessee basketball.
Well, that should be a lesson learned for Brian Williams. Just play the game.
Tatum comes up short. Sapp saves it to Freeman. Ahead to Wright.
Georgetown doing a better job on the boards right now, and it's allowing them to get some transition points. Bad pass. Can't go cross court against the teeth of the zone. Lucky that Georgetown didn't come up with it. Well, now they're playing man.
Eight on the shot clock, a loose ball, saved by Sapp. Right the hit ahead to Freeman. And he'll go to the free throw line. Maybe in. We're at the Milk House at Disney's Wide World of Sports Complex in Florida, part of the Walt Disney World Resort. And we have a good one between number 12 Tennessee and number 16 Georgetown. A 1-point game, 5 minutes into the second half. Bob Wischusen here with Len Elmore and Andy Katz. Georgetown with a 9-2 run over the last 3 minutes. And they've taken their first lead since the 2-minute mark of the first half. Lane. Williams off his toes, out of bounds, but it stays with Georgetown. Or it stays with Tennessee, pardon me. Prince got caught on the baseline and then threw an elbow. Offensive foul called on J.P. Prince.
And once they're expected to exceed $2 million per year, according to ESPN.com's Chris Lowe.
A three for Watad. Thanks, Andy. And it's a 4-point lead for Georgetown. Watad's now 2 for 2 from behind the arc, and now they're going to change it to a 2, saying his toe was on the line. Between Watad's right foot and the 3-point line, it is a 3, and it's a 4-point lead for Georgetown. Chisholm, or rather Smith, an offensive foul call.
The officials' attention. And 2 offensive fouls for Tennessee. That's good position defense by Georgetown. And it's certainly making a difference right now. Empty possession for Tennessee.
Sack from the corner. In and out. Watad the follow. That won't go. Another try. And he dribbles it out of trouble and resets.
Yeah, Watad much more comfortable behind the arc as opposed to underneath of the trees.
One of those trees now out handling the basketball. Watad for 3. Got another.
There's the comfort zone.
Timeout called by Tennessee. Close. 2 of the best college basketball teams in America, Tennessee and Georgetown.
Critical time for Tennessee on the offensive end. Without Wayne Chisholm in there, it really affects their inside game.
Smith will go to the free throw line.
Down on the ability to get some easy baskets inside the post, as well as to be able to prevent Georgetown from getting offensive rebounds. Freshman Negaidu manning the middle right now for Tennessee. He's got the unenviable task of guarding Greg Monroe.
Sapp drives. The follow is good for Monroe.
And it was that drive that drew Negaidu towards him and allowed Monroe to get position on the offensive glass.
Woolridge in and out. The follow by Smith. And he draws the foul.
He has missed the clutch. A couple of games, including that big Memphis game where he get the game-changing shot.
A standing ovation by the Georgetown fans for Omar Watad, who goes to in. But it was Watad 3 for 3 from 3-point land. They put Georgetown in front.
First 3-point shots made by Watad this season. Prior to this game, he was 0 for 6 from beyond the arc.
A throwaway by Freeman.
And how often do we see the unheralded guys, the guys that you don't think anybody pays attention to, like Dave Neal from Maryland, and now Omar Watad, getting it done for their team in critical situations.
Some patience by Emmanuel Negaidu to get that layup to go, and with 12 minutes remaining, it's a 3-point game.
Negaidu's got to be judicious in how he closes on Greg Monroe way outside. Monroe's
Smith down the lane, a reach-in foul called on Wright. And that will be a 1-and-1. Both teams will shoot free throws the rest of the way. That's Georgetown's 17th foul. Tennessee with 16 fouls.
Well, pretty good execution coming out of the timeout. Get the ball in Tyler Smith's hands at a point where he can utilize his one-on-one skills, and there on that angle just had a nice drive to the basket.
That's Chris Wright's 3rd foul as Brian Williams comes back on, replacing Negaidu. Great matchup between number 16 and number 12, Georgetown and Tennessee. And let's check in with Andy.
Well, I'd like to actually pose this back at Len. I think you could make the strong argument through all the games we've seen so far that Maryland and Wichita State have this tournament. What do you think, Len?
I won't argue that. Wichita State, you talk about overachieving. Yeah, I think they're growing up. And Maryland, I'm not sure they're overachieving. I think a lot of people had lowered expectations, but you look at the way that team is made up. They're quick, they're athletic, and they push the pace. And that's hard for them back in. If my guys can hang in there in two-possession game, I keep them out as long as I can, maybe till an 8-minute mark or even a 6-minute mark. It really depends on how long Tennessee can keep this short distance between them and Georgetown. If Georgetown begins to push it out, then you got to come back with your best and hope for the best.
Williams off the glass, no good. Hobson can't save it. At 5:30, Monroe blocked by Negaidu, but he got him with the body. So Monroe will go to the free throw line.
And you see Negaidu replacing Brian Williams because Bruce Pearl recognized his big guys are getting opportunities here on breaking the pressure. Boy, Negaidu got a lot of ball on that. I'm not so sure.
Didn't you hear me say he got him with the body?
Yeah, I know, but he got the bump. Sometimes
it came out.
No, it's not bitter. Maybe bittersweet.
Negaidu, really the only true big man on the floor right now for Tennessee, as Williams sits back down. A deep jumper won't go. Offensive rebound, rather a defensive rebound by the point guard, Chris Wright. Boy, did he go high in the air to grab that one, and he pulls it back out.
And again, on that trip, offensively, without Wayne Chisholm inside, there's no real inside-out game. No real way to put pressure on the defense by going inside and kicking it back out. Tennessee just playing perimeter ball, which won't serve them well in this game against the Georgetown defense. It's pretty tough.
Right. Reverses it.
I think it's time for Wayne Chisholm very shortly. I think if this lead gets to be double digits with Georgetown as they go back to the zone, and you got to see Chisholm in there.
Smith jump stop with the left hand, flips it home.
I've seen jump stops before, but I don't know. That was pretty interesting, but obviously legal because the officials didn't blow the whistle.
The first Tennessee field goal in about 7 minutes. Monroe thought about a three down the lane. What a pretty move by the freshman McDonald's All-American. Tabb looks to answer. Blocking foul, score the goal.
Boy, a huge play by Josh Tabb. Take a look at Georgetown's offense. The drive by Greg Monroe, and interesting, Monroe is out at the top, and it's Jesse Sapp that's the postman in that particular offense. Inverting your offense, giving you a chance to utilize Greg Monroe's versatility, his ability, his agility.
Ronaldo Woolridge goes to the bench. And now Tabb at the line to try and complete a tremendous three-point play. Can't do it. Offensive rebound, though, by Negaidu. Right back up, no good. Another try for Negaidu. Draws the foul.
Well, we talked about rebounding and defense might tell the tale, and Tennessee coming back just with that. Offensive rebounding without Wayne Chisholm in the game. Negaidu, extra effort. Not once, but twice before it draws a foul. And Negaidu, a terrific athlete. 40-inch vertical. Runs a lot of drills and was measured out. Kind of equivalent to the NBA kind of combine situation. And he was finishing high in a lot of categories with that athleticism. Just needs to learn how to play the game. Native of Nigeria. Speaks 4 languages, including English.
He ran the three-quarter court sprint in the fall in an unbelievable time. And now another possession and a fresh shot clock off the missed free throw for Tennessee. And a chance to make it a one-possession game.
And it's rebounding that's getting them closer. Georgetown, again, began this game -3 in the rebounding categories. Opponents have been out rebounding him.
Mays from the corner. Got a three. It's a 2-point game.
Extra opportunities seemingly might sink Georgetown right now.
Spins in the lane, tied up, taken away by Prince. A clean steal for J.P. Prince.
Jesse Sapp trying to spin and use that terrific ball handling, but it was in a phone booth. Too many guys standing around him. Too many Tennessee guys.
Smith palmed it. That's a point of emphasis you talked about in earlier games. The three from the corner, though, for Bobby Mays. Makes it a 2-point game.
You know, last night, Gary Williams, after beating a quality team like Michigan State, said, you know, you're not in the top 25. He firmly believes that there shouldn't be top 25 polls until teams have legitimately won games.
BCS determination, so.
Nice backdoor cut. Wright couldn't handle the pass from Monroe. It's a turnover. Here come the Vols in the open court. Tatum. Misses the bunny. But followed by Prince won't go.
Oh, you got to dunk that. Tatum still looking around like, what happened?
What a missed opportunity for Tennessee. A reach-in foul called on Prince. Wright can't hit at the line, so it's a one-possession game.
Well, you talk about really circling the wagons. Tennessee doing a nice job of that. They were threatened with being down double digits with Chisholm on the bench. Now they've fought their way back to just being down 3. It's bought Bruce Pearl an awful lot of time where he can keep Chisholm on the bench.
Shot clock at 3. A pull-up by Smith and a foul called with the shot clock at 1.
This unit right now is fighting, clawing their way back. Only down 2 right now.
I think Bruce Pearl just called for him, although he's still riding the bike over in the left corner of the gym.
I think Bruce Pearl has been to Vegas a few times, so he'll take the gamble, see how this unit continues.
Wright steps back for 3. Comes up short. High in the air for the rebound is Woolridge.
And that's the key right there, rebounding, keeping Georgetown off the offensive glass.
Smith drives, leaves it for Woolridge. Too strong. The follow rolls around and won't go. Watad tries to save it. Did he step on the end line? He did.
Boy, Volunteers dodged the bullet on that one. 2 missed opportunities. Georgetown battling for the rebound, but obviously Watad out of bounds. But you can only go but so far. I think now's the time to go get his guy in the next minute or so, maybe with 5 minutes left.
From the corner, it's Tatum for 3. Got it.
Well, maybe not.
Tennessee has the lead back.
And they're buying a little more time. Bruce Pearl going with this unit out there on the floor. A couple of role players in the Gadu and Tatum getting the job done, as well as Prince, 6th man of the year in the SEC last year.
Monroe down the lane. Fouled on the floor.
Well, again, on the inbounds play, just wide open. And Tatum just fulfilling his role, hitting shots when he needs to. Brian Williams likes it. But how about on the other end? Once again, we talk about the Georgetown offense where...
Didn't handle that well. An air ball for the freshman Greg Monroe from the free throw line. Moments after Tennessee takes their first lead in 10 minutes.
But the isolation with the big fellow, 6'11", are able to handle the ball and create his own shot. That's an added dimension for Georgetown.
Well, he didn't hit the rim with either shot. First one, not so good. Second one, better. And we're tied at 67 with 5.5 minutes remaining.
And you watch, that's going to be a go-to play for Georgetown down the stretch, isolating Monroe at the top. And if Chisholm comes in, same thing.
Knock away from Freeman, but a recovery by Mays with 13 on the shot clock. Tyler Smith goes to work, spins baseline, some contact, the kiss won't go. Offensive rebound for Prince, that's good, plus the foul.
Once again, rebounding, defense. You said that was going to be the difference in this ball game, and Tennessee really asserting themselves on the glass. Particularly down the stretch here, and they need a bucket and they miss. They were able to go back and get it and capitalize more times than not. And we talked about J.P. Prince again, 6th man of the year in the SEC last year, averaged about 19 minutes a game.
I think Bruce.
Todd called for his second. Both teams now with 10 team fouls, so we shoot the double bonus the rest of the way.
And Prince just gives him such a big lift with the versatility. He can shoot it outside, but he'll go and battle on the boards as well.
Prince has 11. And Tennessee has a 3-point lead.
Nothing fancy right now for Tennessee, just solid man-to-man. But once again,
backdoor cut, the left-hand layup, good for Freeman.
Not so solid there. Georgetown cuts you up with the back doors. You try to anticipate, they read, they adjust, and they make you pay.
There's the old Princeton offense brought to Georgetown by John Thompson III. Tatum from the corner, another triple. He's got another.
Cameron Tatum, a freshman. Woo. Georgetown offense is all about movement, reading, sharing.
A steal by Tatum and the throwdown. Cameron Tatum has taken the game over.
Talk about movement, reading, sharing, patience, and precision, but offense lacking precision right now, and John Thompson III knows it.
Timeout Georgetown. What a turnaround over the past few minutes.
Well, we said it before that with Wayne Chisholm on the bench, who's huge to this Georgetown attack, guys have come in and played their roles. Cameron Tatum, as you mentioned, has literally taken over these last couple of minutes offensively, and he lets everybody know it. This long-range defense, tough to catch up to. And then on the defensive end, gets his hands in that passing lane. Tennessee pressure. They're long. Bruce Pearl laments the fact that his team may not be quick. But maybe it's not necessarily about quickness. It's about positioning. It's about anticipation. And the length of Tennessee, as they bothered Siena yesterday, starting to bother Georgetown.
Cameron Tatum with 8 of his 11 points in the last 2 minutes. And Wichita State, Len, you mentioned how important rebounding was going to be. Wichita State stayed in the game yesterday against Georgetown with 17 offensive rebounds. Tennessee has 14 offensive rebounds today.
Yeah, I mean, that against a Georgetown team like that, that's puzzling because they have the size. And they've got guys who can play physical.
Finds Summers in the throwdown.
Nicely done. Excellent execution. And I wouldn't want to be the Tennessee player who got flushed on when they get to the video room, because you're going to hear a lot of oohs and getting talked about on that one. Man. Georgetown in their man-to-man looking to double, and there they catch Tennessee off guard. They're changing defenses so much, you always got to be aware. You got to recognize and you got to read the defense with Georgetown.
The lob in, Monroe knocks it out of bounds, stepped on the end line. It stays with Georgetown. Apparently Prince had a hand on the ball with his... All right, Ryan, thanks very much. So big news as far as football fans are concerned for Tennessee, and their basketball team is in a tussle with Georgetown, up 4, a little over 3 minutes to go. Sapp can't hit inside. It's tipped out of bounds. The officials confer, and it stays with the Hoyas with 3:07 remaining at the Old Spice Classic, part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. And for the first time since there was 16.5 minutes to go in regulation, Wayne Chisholm is back in the game, playing with 4 fouls. He sat for about 13 minutes.
Well, he only has 9 points in the 11 minutes that he played, but his teammates have certainly picked him up.
Georgetown gets lazy on the inbounds. You can't do that when you play Tennessee. They are as good as it gets guarding the inbound. Prince gets the steal, calls timeout. In college basketball on ESPN2 later on this afternoon at 5:30. And for even more on Maryland, let's go to Andy.
here to the Milk House and said, look, we're not just here to win one game. We are here to win this tournament. And Vasquez says that that confidence he instilled in this team definitely carried over to them beating the Spartans.
They didn't just beat the Spartans, they beat up the Spartans.
Well, I would hope that Gary was just kind of mentioning that. He didn't have to remind these guys, because that's why you're here, to win this thing. And Maryland's just as capable as any of the ranked teams in here of winning it. Just a question of proving it. And right there, Tyler Smith starting to find the range.
It's a 6-point lead for Tennessee.
Georgetown.
2.5 minutes to go. 5-second call. Sapp turns it over with Mays all over him at midcourt.
Well, Georgetown has succumbed to the pressure of Tennessee defense. That's the 19th turnover. Normally they average about 11 per game. I know John Thompson III knows this is something that they've got to work on. But the length of Tennessee right now is bothering Georgetown, not only around the basket, but out on the perimeter. Can't get around them, and it's hard to go over them.
Shot clock at 10. Tatum for 3 again. This one banks home.
Like I said, better to be lucky than good.
He's been both.
That's what I was just going to agree with you. He's definitely been both.
Monroe needs a bucket, and a foul called on Chisholm. That's it. Chisholm's done. Boy, he made a brief appearance before fouling out. That'll put Monroe at the line.
Well, Chisholm had to recognize, and so should have Tennessee, that Georgetown was going to try to go after him. Well, Cameron Tatum, we talked about him with the hot hand. Anything you throw up. And that's not a bad shot to use that backboard. You know he didn't call it, even though the banks are open here on
That wasn't on purpose.
Black Friday.
Come on.
Yeah, but you know what? From that point, it's not bad to use the backboard. You know, you got the window. That's why it's there. You take a look right down here on the post. There's the bump trying to hold him off. You know, you got to let him play a little bit, but in the end, that was a foul. Officials just not allowing you to play with any real physicality down there on the low post.
1 of 2 at the line. Georgetown has to have a stop.
Tennessee using the clock, trying to take some air out of the ball. Nice job. They've got some mobile guys out there, good ball handlers.
Shot clock down to 8.
Now you got to attack.
Mays finds Tatum, another 3-ball. Oh, another!
And you can feel the air coming out of the Georgetown attack. You play solid defense all that time, just to get blown up.
A foul called on Bobby Mays. Cameron Tatum, a freshman from Lithonia, Georgia, is having the game of his life.
Well, again, perfect form on the penetrate, the kick. Georgetown defense too late.
How about a high five for the radio crew as he runs by? He finds the radio announcers for Tennessee. I thought he was going to look for Len Elmore next.
Now they'll do that in the championship game.
Player of the game is going to be just the second half alone.
And especially when they needed him. Chisholm on the bench with fouls. They're looking for offense. They're looking for defense as well. And Tatum provided them with a lot of both.
51 seconds to go, and Georgetown has to look for backcourt pressure and then a foul.
Tennessee, not a bad free throw shooting team, about 72%.
A charge called on Prince. Wright got right up on the hip of Prince. He swung the elbow and hit right in the face, and that's the third on Prince.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Let's take a look, if we can, because you still, as a defender, you've got to give the offensive players some room to react. I don't know about that. I will not say that that is an offensive foul, because you can't get into the offensive player's space. And Wright, as courageous as it was, stuck his chin right there, right behind his shoulder. I think the official overreacted on that one.
Duquesne and Duke already on.
You know, the defender can get as close as possible, but without breaking that plane, without moving into the offensive player. Give Wright credit, though. Took one for the team.
Freeman gets the quick 2, and John Thompson III immediately calls Georgetown's final timeout. And let's check in now with Bob Picozzi and Jimmy. 6 seconds to go.
Let's see that change of possession on the offensive foul looms large. And he didn't hit him with the elbow, hit him with his shoulder. And to me, the test is if he put his hand in the way, would that have been called an offensive foul? I doubt it.
Henry Sims gives the quick foul on Tyler Smith. Again, both teams with over 10 team fouls, so it's the double bonus the rest of the way for both squads. And Tyler Smith will shoot 2.
Tyler Smith, 75% from the line. Coming into this game, he's been shooting most of the free throws for Tennessee.
Tennessee.
So if there's a guy you want on the line, if you're Tennessee, that's the man.
And he's got both.
Tennessee not letting up, putting pressure, not allowing Georgetown to gain any real momentum, going to the basket, forcing them to take a little more time than they'd like. Every second counts.
Wright lays it home. Again, the lead cut to 7, 36 seconds to go. And Mays will be fouled immediately by Freeman. This has been Cameron Tatum's afternoon.
Well, Cameron Tatum, again, coming off the bench, averaging about 12 points a game, just demonstrating tremendous range. Also on the defensive end, able to get things done, but it's been his range on the offense. When Tennessee needed a bucket off penetration, they were looking for number 23.
Well, Georgetown needs a lot of that, as Mays misses the front end. 1 of 2. On the board with 30 seconds to go.
Oh yeah, they really attacked, able to shoot the 3, able to put Georgetown on the defensive.
Todd ends up with Josh Tabb in the laps of a few folks at the scorer's table, and the Tennessee fans love the hustle.
And we're just talking about down the stretch in the last 5 minutes or so. This is a pretty tight ball game up until then. In fact, Georgetown had a chance to take a double-digit lead with Wayne Chisholm on the bench as you look at the tremendous hustle by both squads.
And they award the ball to Tennessee with 23 seconds to go. Mays tries to dribble out some clock, fouled by Clark. And this now delays the inevitable. With 21 seconds remaining, Tennessee is about to get, on back-to-back days, another great win. We've got Feast Week presented by Lowe's continuing now. But to beat Siena as decisively as Tennessee did yesterday, and now a win over Georgetown, they move to the championship game to take on either Gonzaga or Maryland on Sunday. This is win number 399 in the career of Bruce Pearl.
Yes,
what an early statement Tennessee's making.
Absolutely. They're climbing the ladder right now, and they're serving notice. Preseason pick to win the SEC tournament as well as to win their division. You know, they're living up to expectation, but how about the matchup? I mean, you talk about fast pace. Both Gonzaga and Maryland like to push it up the floor. They like to play the game. And combined with the way Tennessee is playing, it's going to be fun.
Wright misses it all, and a foul call.
But yeah, I don't think Georgetown has seen a team put this many points on them in a long, long time.
The only previous meeting between these two teams was played in an empty building 5 years ago for the most part in the first round of the NIT. Georgetown would win it. And we have Tennessee Volunteer fans. There are more Volunteer fans in Orlando today to watch this team play than there were Thompson Bowling Arena to watch the game 5 years ago. And that's just a testament to Bruce Pearl. They've sold out all 16,000 season tickets at home. And their team's going to be in the top 10 when the next poll comes out after winning these last 2 games, you have to think.
Last year, the most points scored on the Georgetown team was 82 by Notre Dame in the Big East tournament.
And Tennessee drops 90 on the Hoyas, and they advance to the championship game on Sunday. The 399th win for Bruce Pearl.
Boy, tremendous effort by the Volunteers. Set the pace and got it done.
Tennessee wins it 90-78, and they move on to face the winner of Maryland and Gonzaga. That game at 5:30. This has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Len Elmore and Andy Katz, I'm Bob Wischusen saying so long from Disney World.